If you've been thinking about starting an e-commerce business, there's a book you need to add to your must-read list. From author Peter Prue, E-Commerce Empire, available on Amazon. This best-selling book gives online entrepreneurs everything they need to know to start and grow a profitable e-commerce business. E-Commerce Empire is a valuable resource for anyone who is just starting out in the world of online selling, as well as veteran online business owners. Author Peter Prue offers valuable step-by-step advice for managing and growing an online business in the competitive e-commerce marketplace. This important book dives into the most important skills and strategies that online business owners need to understand to be successful, including developing sales funnels, creating monthly subscription services, mastering the art of drop shipping, conquering social media marketing, strategically using paid advertising, and much, much more. Order your copy today on Amazon, available in Kindle and paperback. E-Commerce Empire from author Peter Prue.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Very exciting day, because in the mail, we received our copy of President Trump's book, Our Journey Together. This is the picture book that President Trump put out. And this is the autographed copy of it. It is actually personally autographed by President Trump. And it says, Our Journey Together. He signed it, Donald Trump. And then he says, I love you, underneath the signature, which is amazing. And this is a family heirloom. I'm going to go to Hobby Lobby tomorrow and find some type of case to put this book in. It's a very large picture book. This is a collector's item. There are not a lot of these, and this one's autographed. It makes it extra special. But I want to talk a bit about how we got this book, because it has been the book is called Our Journey Together. It has been a journey to get this autographed copy of President Trump's book. And what had happened, Kathy had ordered us an autographed copy of this book as a Christmas present for the both of us, right?
Correct.
And we got the book in the mail, and it wasn't autographed.
Right. Correct.
And
you had to pay extra to get the autograph.
It's not President
copy.
Trump's fault. Somebody made a mistake.
Right.
They put the wrong book in the box.
A significant amount extra. I mean, like pretty much like more than double.
This
to get
was
the autograph copy.
And this was like, our big Christmas gift that we got each other this year. And we got the book, and I looked through the first page, and I said, well, where's the autograph? And we went through the whole book, and I'm like, it's got to be in here somewhere. And we spent some time going through the entire book, and we couldn't find the autograph. And we're like, where's the autograph? And Kathy messaged one of our Patreons, because they had ordered the book too.
Yeah, he told me about the book initially.
Yeah, that's how we found out about the book.
Getting an autograph. Right.
And we asked, and you messaged him to ask him, where's the autograph in the book? Because it's not here. And he told us where it was, and we looked, and it wasn't there. And it's our Patreon supporter, ETW. And he did something that is absolutely amazing. He gave us his autographed copy of President Trump's book that is autographed, Our Journey Together, this family heirloom that will be in the Craig family forever and ever and ever.
And I offered to send him our book, and he said no, keep both. He said it was his gift to us for, his way of supporting us. And
that was very nice.
Very nice.
Oh, man, I'm so excited.
So excited. We just got it. So thank you, ETW. Really, really sweet.
Yeah.
And really means a lot, because
absolutely.
It's something that we will cherish, and Brian will guard with his life for sure.
This is what we're going to do. This one that is autographed is the collectible version that will be sealed in a Hobby Lobby.
I don't know what they have container. That you're
I've seen them. They have cases to put stuff in like this. I've seen them there.
We'll see.
And the other one that is not autographed, that'll be our reading copy.
We'll leave that on the coffee table.
Yeah,
that'll be
one,
the coffee table book.
This one is not to be touched.
I haven't even looked through it. We got the first one without the autograph.
Well, you can't look through this one. This is to be untouched.
No, exactly. That one we will not. We won't even. Oh, we just opened the front to look at the autograph. We haven't even looked through it. The other one without the autograph, we will look through. And I even checked my bank statement. Did I pay for the autograph one? Yes, I did. But we didn't get it for some reason. I emailed the company, and they wrote me back, and they did not offer to send me a new book or anything. They just said, well, this is where the autograph should be. And I wrote them back. I said, well, it's not there. And I never heard from them again.
Yeah, well, you know.
So thank you, ETW.
Yes.
I tried.
And man, and here it is. I mean, it's just amazing to see President Trump's signature in this book. So thank you very much, ETW.
Yes. It's a great idea for a book.
Oh, man.
And I know in the press, of course, they were making fun of it. They make fun of everything
Why?
Trump does.
What is there to make fun of this beautiful book?
But I think it's really cool.
What'd they say about it?
Oh,
it's
this egotistical, whatever. But I guess,
You know what?
All these presidents write books and stuff. Give me a break. This is a nice book to have.
I went to the White House with our daughter Emily when Obama was president.
Correct.
Okay. Now I did not go to meet with President Obama. No. I went as a tourist.
This was a while ago because Emily was like 9 years old.
It was the day after Michael Jackson died, because I remember Michael Jackson died and that the day when we got there. But so it's been a while. And I couldn't believe what I saw when I got in there. When the tourist entrance of the White House, from the ceiling to the floor were humongous photographs of Obama, and they were always candid shots, like he was looking to the right, talking to somebody, looking up in the air at something, looking down at the ground.
He's in action. He's busy.
Everything was in motion.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they think this. And look at all these things of Kennedy leaning over the desk and the tables. It's
a nice thing.
John. And this is a beautiful book. And thank you, ETW. We will cherish this
absolutely
for the rest of our lives. Okay, now January 6th, the Democrats, they have, and we knew they were going to plan something big. We didn't realize exactly what they're doing, but what they were going to do, but now we're finding out. And of course, Kamala and Biden are going to speak tomorrow. This is in the Daily Mail. Joe Biden will call out Donald Trump as the singular responsibility behind the January 6th insurrection when he travels to Capitol Hill Thursday to mark the 1-year anniversary of the day.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, let me tell you about this. First off, no one has been charged with insurrection. It's a very important point. To have an insurrection, you need to have insurrectionist. You cannot have an insurrection without insurrectionist. Okay? And Garland had his press conference today. He's a very radical liberal guy. He's the attorney general. He hasn't charged anyone with insurrection. But this here is one of the most irresponsible things. The true insurrection against the government of the United States is when the Democrats attacked Fort Sumter. And then we had 4 years of the bloody Civil War, which was the Southern insurrection against the Union. And the Republicans at the end of the Civil War let bygones be bygones, right? They members of Congress, Jefferson Davis, the Confederate president, was a senator. He left. They even had former presidents joined up with him, everything else. And they launched an insurrection, the Civil War. And at the end of the Civil War, the Republicans forgave and pardoned all of them. Now, it took a while for everything to be done, Jefferson Davis, and things like this. General Lee went home immediately, not a prisoner. Everything was handled because the Republicans are good people and wanted to. Now, I'm not comparing January 6th to the Civil War. Please don't misunderstand me. But the Republicans immediately said, listen, this is one country. We are a union. We need to bring the country back together. We need to heal, and we forgive. And they pardoned people that could not, General Lee and all those others could have been tried and executed for treason. And
like what they did after World War II with the Nazis.
Exactly. And they didn't do it. And
no, they didn't have tribunals. They didn't have
nothing.
Hearings. They just
and they could have.
They wanted to move on, and they realized that it would probably or possibly could tear the country apart even more, and they were in the process of healing.
Yeah. Now
they just wanted to heal.
So
but these guys they're not into healing.
So what Biden is doing is just to tear the country apart. Okay, it goes on. Biden will hold Trump responsible for the chaos and carnage of that day, said Jen Psaki at the press briefing. 5 people died in the aftermath. Okay. 5 people died in the aftermath. This is a big change because what the Democrats and the media had been saying is 5, and by the way, one of the 5 is not Ashley Babbitt, Capitol police officers. They've been saying that Capitol police officers were killed in the breach, which is not true. Now they're saying in the aftermath. Well, listen, it was a year ago. Anytime you have a large group of people like that number in a year, some of them are going to die in the course of the next year. It's such a bizarre thing, but it is definitely a big change in their messaging. She says 5 people died in the aftermath of Trump's supporters storming the building, which caused thousands of dollars worth of damage throughout the Capitol complex. Biden will lay out the significance of what happened in the Capitol and the singular responsibility President Trump has for the chaos and carnage that we saw, and he will push back on the lies spread by the former president. It goes on. Kamala Harris will also speak in the Capitol building on Thursday to mark the anniversary. On January 6th, it goes on. Okay.
Well, here's the thing with that. First of all, nobody likes Biden or Kamala, so nobody cares what they have to say. And I would advise everybody, and I'm going to take my own advice, to not watch any of this on the news. Do not watch any of this. Let them know that you're not interested in this. I know you're going to be curious maybe, but don't put on, I don't think Fox is going to cover this. I can't imagine, but don't put on.
They'll cover it.
You think so?
Yeah.
Do not watch it if you can help it.
They're going to cover it.
I know Brian has to watch it for news, for the show.
For work, I have to.
But I'm not going to watch it. I think it's a disgusting display. The liberals love to take advantage of a situation that benefits them. They continue to politicize everything. This is not something that needs to be commemorated. It is something that needs to be forgotten, and we need to move on. They're overblowing this. It was a horrible thing, but I think they're making it out to be a little more than it needs to be.
Of course. That's what Democrats do.
But they're going to commemorate this every year for years and years, at least until the next election.
And they're also
to help them to help keep Trump out of office.
And the Democrats are also planning on building a very significant memorial at the Capitol building, and they say it will be in a very prominent area where it can't be missed at the Capitol.
What's it memorializing?
The insurrection that has no insurrectionist. It's really time to move on from this. But Democrats, we talk about this a lot because it's the common theme with the Democrats. Democrats are into dividing people.
Yes,
and I'll tell you, I watched Merrick Garland today, the Attorney General, in this very bizarre press conference. And at the end of it, he said that their job at the Justice Department is to protect the United States from enemies, foreign and domestic. And when he said, now this is just me, you guys may have seen it. When he said enemies, foreign and domestic, he seemed to say domestic with a little emphasis on it, meaning MAGA. And what this is one of the things they're doing. We were talking about the how at the end of the Civil War the Republicans forgave and pardoned all these Rebs. That's not entirely true. Like Jefferson Davis was a senior senator before the war. Jefferson Davis and other members of the Confederate government were banned for life from holding office because they didn't want them to hold office.
Well, that's what they want to do with Trump.
That's what they're going to try to do with Trump. And also, that's why they're singling out
possibly other people.
Some of the members of Congress like Jim Jordan and
MTG
and people like that. Yeah. So this is just wrong. And not only is it wrong, it's never going to end. We're going to be dealing with this every year. Now,
well, I think it will end when the parties turn over. I can't see Republicans if they're in control of the House.
The Democrats can still go other places and have their thing.
No, but I can't see them doing something like this. It would be career suicide for them. And once we get a Republican president in, and we get control of the government again, I think will squash
and,
that.
It was really sad this year on 9/11. The 9/11 event in New York City was almost a non-event compared to what it's been in the past. That's kind of fading away now.
This is the new 9/11.
And this is their new thing, that they want to turn into. They want to treat this like the 9/11. Remember, every year the names were read. And I know they still do that, but every year it's gotten a little less and less and no coverage on TV.
Well, I wonder what the memorial will look like. I'm dying to know.
It'll have photos of people in MAGA hats all over it. I'll tell you that, doing things. That's what they want to do.
Do you think they put up a statue?
I don't know. But, here's the thing. Obviously, none of us support any of that happened on that day. But,
we don't.
But here's the thing. There are tens of millions of MAGA people in this country, tens of millions. And a few hundred went into the building, okay? We are going to judge over 70 million Americans based on a few hundred. I mean, are we to judge African Americans based on the prison population,
Black Lives Matter,
or prison population? A lot of African Americans in prison. Are we supposed to say black people are criminals? Of course not.
Or all sympathetic to BLM or liberals?
That would be
Antifa.
racist.
Yeah,
that would be racist.
Right.
But and to blame Trump supporters and MAGA for what happened, it's just something we're going to have to deal with. I was really upset that day because it happened, but I knew instantly that we're going to live with this forever because we were always able with liberals in a debate. Like if I had a liberal caller who would call me in on the radio and I'm talking about like the LA riots or a BLM thing, we always had the moral high ground where we could say, listen, it's always Democrats burning down the cities and looting and doing this and doing that. The Republicans, we're nonviolent. We never do anything. We don't break the law. And sometimes, like when – you guys will remember this, when Glenn Beck had his big thing at the Washington Mall, this was very big deal because Glenn Beck had this thing with tens of thousands at the Lincoln Memorial. And this was a very big deal. It was nothing like this had ever been done with a talk show host before. But at the Obama, it was not long after Obama's inauguration. And after Obama's inauguration, the Democrats in the Washington Mall left so much litter around, it looked like a garbage dump, which is very disrespectful. And when Glenn Beck had his thing, everybody that attended, all the tens of thousands, picked up every piece of trash. There was no litter. Some people even brought their own garbage bags. And we've always had that moral high ground where conservatives are law and order. We don't do anything wrong. And because of this, the Democrats and the media are never going to let us have that moral high ground again.
Well,
that's the way it is.
They have many stains, and we have one. And,
well, no, we don't, because we did not do that. We have something that they can blame us for, I guess.
But I'm saying in the eyes of the public and in the eyes of the media – but there were people there that should not have been there. That's true. It shouldn't have happened. And I'm not sure exactly how all this came about. And I don't think we're ever going to know the details of exactly what occurred. But they've done many things. I mean, the liberals terrorized cities for months and months.
Yeah, and they will again.
And caused much more destruction, much more monetary damage. How many businesses did they destroy? How many, And this is how think back in history. Look at all the rioting that has gone on in cities from the time of the 60s. All the rioting and the damage and the destruction. That's always liberals. It's always Democrats. And then there's one event that happens that they can publicly attribute to us, and they're just milking it for everything that it's worth. And they want you to forget all the damage. They don't want to attach themselves to the damage they have caused over the last 4 decades.
Now, listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, there is a lot more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We will be back right after this.
From author Ozark Mark comes your next must-read book, Letters from St. Nicholas, available on Amazon. Letters from St. Nicholas is an inspiring tale which tells the story of Nicholas Gunderson, a pastor who loses his way and finds redemption through a spiritual awakening at a Salvation Army center in Chicago, as well as purpose through participation in the St. Nicholas Society. Through the society, Nicholas receives a placement as a pastor at a church in Southwest Missouri, through which he writes Christmas letters from St. Nicholas to individuals he knows that are dealing with different struggles, making an impact on their lives. Letters from St. Nicholas is a story of hope and redemption with second chances for people who have fallen. Readers will enjoy this story of tragedy and triumph to be reminded of the true meaning of Christmas, the gift of our Lord Jesus Christ. Letters from St. Nicholas from author Ozark Mark is available on Amazon in Kindle and paperback. Order your copy right now. Have you ever dreamed of being wealthy using real estate? If you answered yes, there's a podcast you will want to add to your playlist. Big Fat Real Estate Checks, hosted by Marco Kozlowski. Available on all podcast platforms. It's a podcast about investing in U.S.-based multifamily real estate. If you want to replace your JOB income with passive income for life, host Marco Kozlowski's proprietary systems and processes can help you get there. And you don't necessarily need money or credit to do it. Marco has been in real estate for over 20 years and has learned lessons, horror stories, and an entertaining and fun way of teaching you how to win the game of cash flowing real estate without breaking the bank, without risk, and without using any of your credit. He has hundreds of successful students who used his systems and processes to replace their income and retire. Check it out today and learn from Marco. His podcast is filled with valuable information that you can actually use. You will learn how to build real, generational wealth. No get-rich schemes here. Add Big Fat Real Estate Checks with host Marco Kozlowski to your playlist right now. Available wherever you listen to podcasts. Many times we hear that crises are opportunities, but to understand this, it's necessary to change the focus of how we see the context. This way, we can notice the ways that allow us to undertake what we think of as the new and what we want to manifest in our universe. The book from author Christian Franchini, Creativity in Times of Pandemic, available on Amazon, provides readers with 11 keys to develop your creative potential. Keys that you can implement in your daily life and discover a new universe of possibilities that will propel you towards the singularity of being. Since we can understand creativity as a key to a new state of consciousness that connects us with infinite alternatives, this requires reformulating the old patterns of information and beliefs to enhance the creative process in all its dimensions. This must-read book is a great gift for anyone who wants to manifest a new beginning in their life. Order your copy right now on Amazon. Creativity in Times of Pandemic from author Christian Franchini.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks for tuning in, and make sure to like and subscribe on whatever platform you are listening to us on. All right, now, a follow-up to a previous show, okay? This is an important point to make because we are being set up here. When I say we, I mean conservatives and MAGA, and I want to just talk for a moment, and then I'll move into some new things. I just want to do a follow-up and talk about Joe Rogan in a moment. Okay, Joe Rogan, in the last show I said, is Joe Rogan the new Rush? No, he's not. But what's going on here is conservatives are being set up by Joe Rogan and by very bad liberal people who are promoting Joe Rogan. And don't misunderstand what I'm saying here. I like Joe Rogan, okay? He's all right. I get no problem with him. I do watch some of his interviews he's done, and I like some of the celebrity interviews he does too. I find them interesting. So this is not a knock.
I bet Howard
on him.
Stern is so jealous of him.
Oh yeah.
Howard Stern is a very jealous, petty person.
Oh, yeah.
And he likes to squash people that threaten his reign. And I guarantee you he is extremely jealous of Joe Rogan.
Oh, yeah.
More than anybody else.
Oh, yeah. See, to me, when people that I'm not like that. When, the more people that are successful doing this kind of stuff, it's good for all of us because more people are. So, so I'm not that way. But anyway, this is what I mean by us being set up, and you've got to be very, very, very careful. You sent me yesterday a bar graph that showed the ratings of Joe Rogan versus Tucker Carlson and a lot of leading conservatives. Joe Rogan has more listeners and viewers each week than anyone, and
I think than all of them combined.
Yeah, Tucker Carlson, he has more than twice, maybe 3 or 4 times as many people that listen to him or watch him each and every week than Tucker Carlson, and Tucker Carlson's number one in cable news. And this is what's going on here, okay? And that you've got to. I'm not saying don't listen to Joe Rogan, but you got to put everything in context. He is not a conservative. Just last week, he said Michelle Obama could beat President Trump, and he was supporting her running for president. He was a big Bernie Sanders supporter. He's not a Republican. He's not MAGA. Doesn't mean he's a bad guy, but he's not. And if you notice,
he kind of plays to me both sides depending on the issue.
Yeah.
He's not really committed on every, some people, most people are Democrat or conservative across the board. Mm-hmm. But you don't have to be, but he really, depending on the issue, seems to, I don't know what he is. I mean, I know he supported Bernie, so that says a lot, but there's some issues where he's much more conservative.
Okay, yeah. Now,
that can be confusing to people.
Now, he's been doing some things lately and talking about some things that people say, wow, he's talking about what nobody else is talking about, and he's getting all these views and all these listens, and he's becoming the show of record. And conservatives are going to him and be like, look, Joe Rogan this, Joe Rogan that. This kind of got me thinking today. I got a call on the radio this morning from a caller, Trump supporter, MAGA girl, and she was praising this new book that's out by Bobby Kennedy Jr., Robert Kennedy. And he's this great. And I said, listen, I guess the book's okay. I've heard of the book. I don't know anything about the book. But he's Bobby Kennedy's son. He's a lifelong Democrat. He's a liberal Democrat. He had a show on Air America Radio. He is a Kennedy. And you've got to not – just because you like what Bobby Kennedy is saying on this particular thing doesn't mean he's somebody you want to listen to on other things. And Joe Rogan – this is what I mean by being set up by people behind Joe Rogan. When Joe Rogan first went to Spotify and he had like this $100 million deal – if you remember, Spotify snowflakes, remember this? Some of the workers were like protesting. They were taking episodes of his podcast down. And now all of a sudden he has free reign to do all this stuff. What's going on here, and you saw a little bit of it with this Gitter thing. What was going on here, anti-Trump forces, liberal working with Republican establishment, but liberals he's a Trojan horse. They're trying to get MAGA and Trump supporters into and following Joe Rogan. We've got this big vacuum where Rush Limbaugh used to be, and conservatives nationally don't have a leading voice in media anymore. There's a bunch of different people. Rush was always somebody who kind of put it all together, and everybody liked Rush. We don't have that anymore, and they're trying to make the liberals, Joe Rogan, the conservative MAGA voice of record. And let me tell you something. It is only a matter of time before he starts trashing Trump. And that's why he's having free reign to do all these things that are so controversial by the liberals that he works for and works with, because this is the Trojan horse for MAGA. So
I will say this.
Be careful, people.
People that are in those upper levels, that have reached those devious upper people. Levels, okay, like Tucker and people that are at that level, they have to know their audience. That's one of the keys to marketing and marketing your show. And one of the keys to success is to know your audience. And there might be times where Tucker or Joe or anybody might say things that they might not truly believe, but they know their audience will eat it up. So you have to take what a lot of these people say with a grain of salt. Now, people that are more grassroots, like Brian or this show or other people, that are not like, at that kind of level, you're going to get more honesty and sincerity because, it's just there's just not as much at stake, I guess you should say. And it was interesting because Joe Rogan had this doctor on, I can't remember his name, and then a few days later, Laura Ingraham had the same guy on her show, and that told me that he is leading, and that to me was very telling. Yeah, but they're now booking guests based after on him. Yeah, this is unheard of. Which I think is very that's unheard of for Fox.
It is unheard of,
and that was very telling.
Now Valentine's Day is coming up, and of course, there's no better gift for Valentine's Day and for your Valentine than the great products at mypillow.com. And when you use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, there are huge deals, and whatever special you see at mypillow.com. you can take advantage of with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. And I want to tell you what I put together is my personal, the Brian Craig Valentine's package at mypillow.com. It's
the Brian bundle. The Brian bundle.
The Brian Valentine's Day bundle. Yeah, that's good, Kathy. It's an unofficial bundle. It's not officially sanctioned by MyPillow, but there are great deals on these. And go to mypillow.com, click on the radio listener specials, and of course the first is the MyPillow bathrobe. Kathy and I have the MyPillow bathrobes. They are spectacular. I've washed them so many times, and every time they come out of the dryer, they're like the day they were delivered to us, brand new, because everything Mike Lindell makes is a very high quality, built to last for years and years and years. The Mypillow bathrobe comes in styles for both men and women, many colors. They have a whole bunch of new colors in, all of which are currently in stock. Makes a great Valentine's gift to get a his and hers, and they're 30% off with our promo code Kane. They also have a new style. They have the heavy bathrobe, which we have. They also have a new lighter version. 30% off the Mypillow bathrobes with our promo code Kane. And, of course, with that bathrobe, you want to get the his and hers Mypillow My Slippers, which are 40% off with our promo code Kane, K-A-N-E. And the My Slippers, I'm wearing them right now, actually, my Mypillow My Slippers. They come in different colors and styles for men and women as well. And then finally, the Mypillow Brian bundle for Valentine's Day. Mike Lindell has released an incredible new line of men's and women's sleepwear to wear under that robe, and beautiful sleepwear, 30% off with the promo code Kane. Now, again, any special you see there, you could take advantage of with our promo code, but those, I think, make great Valentine's Day gifts, especially in his and hers.
So much better than just flowers, because flowers are nice, but they last like a week.
Yeah.
This is something, like I've always said, I like more practical gifts because, the person gets a lot more use out of them. And the robes are really nice with the slippers and everything. And I think they make a great Valentine's Day gift. And every time they put that on, they'll say, "Oh, thank you so much. I love this. It's so comfortable." Flowers are nice, but they're forgotten. This is something that they'll treasure.
And don't forget, use the promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E, for incredible deals. And you're also supporting this program when you do that. Okay, now Politico is reporting that the Democrats are openly, this means they're not in smoke-filled back rooms, this is Politico. Democrats are openly plotting to challenge Joe Biden in the primaries in 2024. And Kathy and I have been talking. Now, there's a lot of people that want this. Hillary Clinton's one of them. But Governor Cuomo is the one that they're eyeing.
And we were talking about this the other day. This week, they just dropped all the charges, the sexual harassment, the groping, and the nursing home charges. They dropped everything.
Well, let's slow down on this.
Cuomo.
Now, okay, so
there's a reason.
Janice Dean tweeted the other day, after they dropped all the groping, sexual harassment stuff against Cuomo, Janice Dean said, well, if Governor Cuomo didn't do anything wrong, why did he resign?
Exactly.
Makes no sense. And this thing about the nursing home, thousands and thousands of New York seniors, most of them Democrats because it's New York, died directly because of his actions. And that's like forgotten. I mean, that's a terrible thing that happened. And they are definitely planning on running him.
Absolutely. That's why they dropped all these charges, because that was my first thought, because they don't really have anybody. Biden's not going to win, and his approval just goes lower and lower every week. And he didn't know what year it was. He said it was 2020
yesterday,
the other day. I mean, how much worse is he going to be in 3 years? So it's sad, but he's declining, and he just isn't going to make it. Cognitively for sure, and they know this. So they really don't have anybody that's high profile that they feel can win, or, to draw those numbers. People have very short memories when it comes to the news cycle. And I believe that Letitia James, for whatever reason, I'm not sure what happened behind the scenes, but she dropped these charges. And I believe they did this so he can run for president. Yeah. Our prediction is that's exactly what's going to happen.
I agree with you. And Democrats, have complete immunity from negative public opinion and media, no matter what they do. I mean, Ted Kennedy killed a girl, and
he still remained a senator.
And he was in the Senate until the day he died. He'd still be in the Senate if he were around.
And everybody knew. I mean, it wasn't a secret. It wasn't something that he denied or something that was that people said didn't happen. Everybody knew it happened. They talked about it openly. He even talked about it, and nothing happened. There were no charges brought to him, and he continued to be in the Senate. So this is the way it is.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Now, listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, there is a lot more to talk about. Do not go anywhere. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Back right after this.
Now available on Amazon, the newest book from author J.N. Jameson, The Black Crescent. The Black Crescent is a sea adventure and fantasy time travel novel. Trapped behind enemy lines on an uncharted island, 2 days ago, rescue skipper Jim McGraw and his crew left on a distress call to save a boat on the high seas. Now, they vanished without a trace. Pulled through a mysterious black wall, they landed on a tropical island overrun by Viking warriors. How can these 21st century rescuers help the desperate islanders take back their nation? Find out when you read The Black Crescent from author J.N. Jameson, available in Kindle and paperback on Amazon. Author J.N. Jameson served in the United States Coast Guard for over 20 years as a navigator, search and rescue skipper, and master training specialist. He brings his knowledge and experience in true life rescues at sea into this must-read book, The Black Crescent. Order your copy right now on Amazon. There's no doubt, today more than ever, we all need a little uplifting. Times are scary, and the world can seem lonely and frightening, but God is always present. God loves us and wants us to know He is here and always there when we need Him. The Warriors for Christ podcast seeks to uplift, edify, and encourage you to be the light and salt in a dark and tasteless world. They have new episodes weekly. Be sure to subscribe and share the Warriors for Christ podcast with your friends and family. Find the Warriors for Christ podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Player FM, Stitcher, Deezer, Amazon Podcast, and on their website, warriorsforchrist.podomatic.net. That's the number 4, warriorsforchrist.podomatic.net. Warriors for Christ, letting the Bible speak and teach for itself. Now available on Amazon, the newest book from author J.N. Jameson, The Black Crescent. The Black Crescent is a sea adventure and fantasy time travel novel. Trapped behind enemy lines on an uncharted island, 2 days ago, rescue skipper Jim McGraw and his crew left on a distress call to save a boat on the high seas. Now, they vanished without a trace. Pulled through a mysterious black wall, they landed on a tropical island overrun by Viking warriors. How can these 21st century rescuers help the desperate islanders take back their nation? Find out when you read The Black Crescent from author J.N. Jameson, available in Kindle and paperback on Amazon. Author J.N. Jameson served in the United States Coast Guard for over 20 years as a navigator, search and rescue skipper, and master training specialist. He brings his knowledge and experience in true life rescues at sea into this must-read book, The Black Crescent. Order your copy right now on Amazon. Many times we hear that crises are opportunities, but to understand this, it's necessary to change the focus of how we see the context. This way, we can notice the ways that allow us to undertake what we think of as the new and what we want to manifest in our universe. The book from author Christian Franchini, Creativity in Times of Pandemic, available on Amazon, provides readers with 11 keys to develop your creative potential. Keys that you can implement in your daily life and discover a new universe of possibilities that will propel you towards the singularity of being. Since we can understand creativity as a key to a new state of consciousness that connects us with infinite alternatives, this requires reformulating the old patterns of information and beliefs to enhance the creative process in all its dimensions. This must-read book is a great gift for anyone who wants to manifest a new beginning in their life. Order your copy right now on Amazon. Creativity in Times of Pandemic from author Christian Franchini.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. You know, this story, there's this Amy Schneider, who is a transgender Jeopardy champion, born biologically male, now is Amy Schneider, transgender Jeopardy champion, just was robbed at gunpoint Sunday in California, but it's in the news because of it. That's something I noticed this when I read this, and this is because I saw this story, and this is an interesting story. In a tweet on Monday evening, Schneider, whom the media has dubbed Jeopardy's highest-earning female contestant. So now we're talking about the transgender swimmer. Now the transgender Amy Schneider, Jeopardy champion, is the top female earner in the history of Jeopardy. That's been on forever.
They're taking away all the female records.
Well, can we do? Are boys better than girls? Because the men, the transgender, they're born men. They get involved in sports. Jeopardy is brain power, and I don't know. Are girls equal? Really, truly equal? Because I
personally think women are smarter than men. But.
The highest earner on Jeopardy is now a transgendered. The highest earning female is a transgender.
Is she a female now?
I don't know if
or is she a male now?
I don't know what the current status is.
What's her name?
Well, Amy Schneider, born a man.
That's why she won, because she's now a woman.
Oh, I see. No, come on, you guys, you know what I mean.
If she stayed a man, she wouldn't be at that level.
The thing with physical things like sports is
that's what happened. The brain shifted, and now she's more
Jeopardy is Jeopardy's a brain power. Highest earning female.
She's a woman now, so there you go.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a messed up.
Well, I wanted to talk about this. I saw this in the Daily Mail. I find this very interesting. I have two theories on this. It says two more House Democrats are retiring. Total of 24. That's quite a bit. House Democrats will not seek re-election in 2022. That's this year. As 17-year-old Bobby Rush, the only politician to ever beat Barack Obama, announces his retirement, and Nancy Pelosi tries to cling to her party's majority. This article's in our Facebook group, Brian Craig Show. I have two theories on this. So you have 24 House Democrats not seeking re-election, some of them older, which are retirement age. But we know these politicians they die in office. I mean, they never retire. So, you know what I mean? Look at Dianne Feinstein or Chuck Schumer. They're ancient. I think that they're leaving for one of two reasons. They have read the tea leaves in their district and they know they cannot win because things are turning red in these districts because people are fed up. Or the other thing could be that the progressives are moving to take over the party and they are laying the groundwork to replace these people with even more progressive Democrats. So it's to me, it's one or the other. But
the main
whatever
reason is
it is,
lose.
that's right. Whatever it is, the main reason is they know they can't win.
Yeah,
and that is the only reason they're retiring.
And I read
these people never retire.
And I read today a whole bunch of staffers for Pelosi are leaving, looking for other work. They're trying to get out. So that's
Kamala lost another staffer today too.
Well, the fact that Pelosi has people leaving confirms that she's leaving.
They're thinking of their political future.
Yeah.
And it's clearly not with her. And I'm sure she's not happy about everybody. Well, if Nancy, now she's up for re-election this year. Is that correct?
Well, the whole House is up for re-election every 2 years.
Okay, right. Yeah. So that's right. So the rumor is she is retiring because she wants to retire as Speaker of the House because she knows that they're not going to have the majority. So if she's doing that, knowing she knows that they're not going to get the majority, and she wants to retire as Speaker. And that'll be a great day when you don't have to look at her ugly face every day up there giving press conferences and clicking and clacking all over the place.
I don't know when you've seen her face. She's always wearing a mask. I haven't seen her face in like 2 years.
That's true. But won't it be a great day when you don't have to hear what Nancy Pelosi has to say? I mean, we've been dealing with her pretty much our whole life. She's been in politics, like Joe Biden, 50 years since we've been born. I mean, when these people retire or leave, it's a good thing.
Now, I want to thank all of our Patreon supporters for their support. Thank you so much. And if you would like to support the show by becoming a Patreon supporter, there is a link in the description of this episode, and the direct website address is patreon.com/Real Brian Craig Show. Patreon.com/Real Brian Craig Show, and there are many perks to becoming a Patreon supporter, including getting commercial-free editions of each and every episode. Our top Patreon supporters get a live, on-air thank you shout-out on each and every episode. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, Gary, ETW, who gave us this autographed Trump book, Our Journey Together, the picture book, Chuck, Pamela, Dee, Jacqueline, Rick, Rich, and Nick. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for your support. Okay, now, I was reading this article here today. This was on CNN. New York University professor of bioethics, Arthur Kaplan, he was on CNN today. He said it was time to shame and blame unvaccinated Americans, adding that society should penalize them in a variety of ways, including higher hospital bills and insurance premiums. And Biden said yesterday that parents should not let their children play with unvaccinated kids. Okay, now this thing here, though, what they're talking about public shaming. we have, the left have been advocating against like body shaming and things like this. Don't and all
slut shaming.
Yeah, all this stuff. Yeah, and now they're bringing in this new shame thing with people that aren't complying to their edicts and their whims and what they want. And I was thinking about this today when I saw Garland. It's very unusual to see a press conference with an attorney general. They don't happen very often. So when they happen, you watch it. And I was watching Garland today, the attorney general. The Democrats today are so radical. I mean, they're just radical beyond imagination.
Yeah, no, they are. They're radical.
There's no meeting place with any of them. In fact, I was watching.
They're meeting a lot. The problem is nobody likes their ideas. Only the fringe. And they're meeting a lot of resistance, and I think this election coming up is going to be a big smack in the face.
Yeah.
And a realization. And it's funny because on CNN, I just read an article today, they had another reporter on there who has changed his mind about the vaccine shaming. We should come up with a term for that. You have fat shaming, slut shaming. I guess we can call it vax shaming.
Yeah.
And he has changed his mind on vax shaming, and he said that now with Omicron, he has so many friends that have gotten it that he doesn't want them shamed because of it. He said they didn't go. He said that the conception of it is, or the perceived idea of it is rather, is that if you catch it, you're irresponsible, you're not being safe, and you're, and he said, I have so many friends that have it now. He said, these are people that are vaccinated. They're very safe. He said they shouldn't be shamed. So now all of a sudden, because their friends are getting Omicron and being publicly shamed for it, and, they don't want to be shamed or restricted. So now they're changing their tune on that. But this kind of talk is not going to go anywhere. It's just talk, because let me tell you, and this happened when the first lockdown and all this stuff, and it was so scary. God, it was almost 2 years ago. Can you imagine? Mm-hmm. And I said to you, this will never happen again. And I said, because it is going to be so traumatic for people. Now, there are some mandates and lockdowns and things still going on, like kids not being able to go to school in certain areas. But even Biden and the White House are not doing any mandates really or lockdowns anymore, because it is a losing strategy. And the numbers with the Omicron are so high, they're still not doing anything. They're making suggestions, but you don't see any edicts being passed down, because they know that the American people are not having it. This is not Australia. This is not Europe. America is not yet fully a socialist country. We are a country of free people. And Americans do not like their freedom taken away. And this is not going to fly. So that's why Biden, pretty much like Pontius Pilate, washed his hands of this whole thing a couple weeks ago, because he knows that he is losing on this issue, and he doesn't know anything else to do. Because if he comes out and talks like Trump, he's not going to do that. So he's just saying nothing now.
The Democrats are so radical.
They are.
There used to be this thing called Blue Dog Democrats. And what Blue Dog Democrats were, they were Democrats who were conservative on some things. Like there were Democrats.
Like Manchin?
No, he's not really Blue Dog. But there's Blue Dog Democrats.
I remember that.
Blue Dog,
he's kind of.
Blue Dog, maybe a little bit. Blue Dog Democrats was actually an official group, and they were Democrats who were pro-Second Amendment, supported the NRA, and were pro-life. But they were
Kennedy.
They were Democrats on a lot of other things. There really are not Blue Dog Democrats anymore. One last thing I wanted to mention here: Howard Stern would force vaccines on the unvaccinated.
Wow.
This is very troubling for someone, especially someone who's a Jew.
I was just thinking the same thing.
To talk about forced medical procedures on citizens. This is really troubling. Now, Howard Stern may be, trying to go viral and be, get people talking about him, and things like that. I get it. But for a Jew to say that people should be forced to do something medically like that is very, very, very concerning. All right, listen, we're out of time, but we will be back next time. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and make sure that you follow and subscribe on whatever platform you are listening to us on. Talk to you next time.